When does solitude become loneliness? The hidden struggle of introverts. The world outside hums with life, conversations, laughter, the distant honk of traffic. But inside, all is quiet. A cup of tea sits untouched on a desk. A book lies open, but unread. A phone buzzes. A message left unanswered. There is no chaos here, no distractions. Just the sound of breathing in an empty room. Solitude. Peaceful, right? But then, why does it feel so heavy? For introverts, solitude is like oxygen. It recharges them, gives them space to breathe, to think, to exist without expectation. But sometimes that solitude shifts, turns into something else, something colder. And without realizing it, solitude becomes loneliness. Welcome back to Kokoro Chronicles. Today, we explore the fine line between solitude and loneliness, the hidden struggle that many introverts face, but rarely talk about. Imagine this, a rainy afternoon. The soft patter of water against the window. A warm cup of coffee in your hands. A book, a sketch pad, music playing softly in the background. No expectations, no obligations, just you and your own company. This is the beauty of solitude. It's where introverts thrive. It's where ideas bloom, where the world slows down enough to be truly seen. Unlike loneliness, solitude is chosen. It's an embrace, not an absence. But what happens when it stops feeling like home? When the silence becomes too deep, too heavy? When being alone stops feeling like a choice and starts feeling like a cage? At first, it's subtle. A missed call you don't feel like returning. A gathering you skip, not because you don't want to go, but because it feels easier to stay home. The days blur together. The silence grows thicker. And then one night, as you sit in your dimly lit room, scrolling through your phone, you feel it, a hollow ache in your chest. The quiet, once comforting, now feels empty. Loneliness doesn't arrive with a bang. It seeps in like mist, unnoticed until suddenly, it's everywhere. For introverts, this shift can be especially hard to detect. After all, they enjoy being alone, until they don't. So how do you know? How do you tell when solitude is helping you, and when it's hurting you? 5 signs solitude has turned into loneliness. Sign number 1, you're not recharging anymore. Solitude is meant to be restorative. It should leave you feeling refreshed, not drained. But if you find that being alone no longer gives you peace, and instead leaves you feeling restless or numb, it may be a sign that your solitude has shifted into loneliness. Sign number 2, you crave connection. But don't reach out. The paradox of loneliness is that you want connection, but at the same time, the idea of reaching out feels exhausting. If you find yourself hoping someone will check in on you, yet ignoring messages or turning down invites, loneliness may be creeping in. Sign number 3, your thoughts are getting louder. Solitude allows introverts to reflect, but loneliness traps them in overthinking loops. If your inner world feels less like a peaceful retreat and more like a storm of self-doubt and rumination, it might be time to step out of your isolation. Sign number 4, everything feels distant. Friends, family, hobbies, things you once cared about now feel far away, like they belong to someone else. You feel detached from the world, but you don't know how to step back into it. Sign number 5, you feel invisible. Loneliness whispers that no one notices your absence, that if you disappeared, nothing would change. These thoughts are lies, born from too much time spent alone without balance. The truth is, you are not invisible. You matter. So what now? If you recognize these signs, does that mean you have to force yourself to be social, to push yourself into extroverted spaces, just to escape loneliness? No. The key isn't abandoning solitude, it's balancing it. Here's how. Step 1. Break the cycle with small interactions. You don't have to throw yourself into big social events. Start small. Reply to one message. Step outside for a walk where you'll pass by others. A single interaction can break the cycle of isolation. Step 2. Engage in shared spaces, even without talking. Go to a cafe, a library, a park. You don't have to talk to anyone, just exist around people. Sometimes being near life is enough to remind you that you're part of it. Step 3. Reach out, even if it feels awkward. Send a message. Call someone. Say, hey, I was thinking about you. It may feel strange, but connection begins with small steps. Step 4. Find a community that understands you. Not all social interactions are draining. Find people who share your interests, where conversation flows naturally, where you don't have to pretend. The right connections don't take energy, they give it. If you've been stuck in solitude for too long, if the silence has started feeling too deep, too heavy, this is your sign to take a step. Reach out, send a message. Go outside. Do one small thing to reconnect. And in the comments, tell us, when does solitude feel like home to you? And when does it feel like a prison? Let's talk. But what happens when the way you love, and the way you connect with others, is shaped by something deeper? Something formed in childhood, influencing how we trust, how we attach, how we navigate relationships? Next time, we're exploring attachment styles. Why you love the way you do. How does your attachment style shape your connections? Like, subscribe, and join us on this journey into the mind. See you next time.